If you guys are watching this, I'd love for you to go over to my Twitter at iupdate and vote on which color iMac I should get, because I have silver, and I kind of like the silver, but I also have like blue I kind of like, and then green I'm split between. So I want you guys to go over and vote, and I will pick whichever iMac most of you have voted for, the one that will be in the background of all my videos. So I'll leave a link to my tweet down below. The poll is going to be up for some time still, and you guys can vote on which iMac I should get. All right. Wish me luck. Anyway, you want to talk about the iPhone 13? You want to talk a little bit about this iMac? Of course you do. That's why you're here on iUpdate. So let's go ahead and jump in, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more. I'm feeling fired up today. So let's go ahead and keep this fire rolling. And the first story today is about this new iMac. You know how there's some things that are like a little weird about this computer? There's maybe a few things that are a little, oh, that's so Apple. Oh, only Apple would do that. Those white bezels sure make it look like a Mac. For a while, we were all like, yeah, you know, this is like a lower end device, so it's like white bezels, and then you got like the chin down here. You know, there's no logo, it just looks very clean and minimalistic. You know, why would that be? Gosh, why is Apple so Apple? Well, we know now. Well, guess who had their middy little fingers on this iMac? All right, none other than Johnny Ive. And as soon as you heard that, you're probably like me, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That would be why this computer looks kind of weird in some areas. Now listen, I'm a huge fan of the way this looks, and I actually love the way this computer sits in the background of my videos. And even using it is, you know, I mean, using it's cool too, I guess. But genuinely, I think the design is phenomenal. Yet the chin and the no logo and the white bezels are some interesting choices, and the fact that it's just this thin. You know, who else at Apple would have been behind this? I thought this was just a fascinating story. Man, it's really hard to move an iMac and talk at the same time. I'll be real with you. The weird part about this story is that Apple didn't confirm when he worked on it, because, you know, Johnny Ive, like the part to left, he's out. He's gone. And that happened in, I think, June of 2019. But they didn't say if he worked on it back then, because, you know, hardware takes a while to work on at any company, or if it was with his new company, Lovefrom, with Apple as their client. But Johnny Ive worked on this machine, and love him or hate him, it's iconic.
Iconic machine.
But this guy is going to sit here and talk to you about Apple products all day. It's time for me to tell you the truth. He's got all kinds of STDs. He's real messed up, real dirty guy out there, because he's been raw dogging the internet, guys. He hasn't been using WeVPN. Listen, you guys know WeVPN. They're the guys that came from all the other VPN companies doing sketchy stuff with your data to create a fundamentally better product that was one of the best, fastest, and most reliable options on the entire market. And recently I've heard some birds chirping outside, which means that it's spring, and WeVPN has launched their spring sale for the 2 years plan, which gets you 73% off and 2 months for free at only $2.69 a month. This gives you access to all their premium features, over 50 server locations around the world, and even the ability to unblock content from Netflix, Hulu, BBC iPlayer, and so much more. And when you enter the code iUpdate at checkout, you get an additional 10% off. So my challenge is this: whether you've been using a different VPN for years, yuck, or this is your first time hearing about a VPN, head over to WeVPN.com/iUpdate today if you trust me, if you like what I do here, and start staying safer online. Moving on now to the iPhone 13. I honestly feel like it's been a long time since we've chatted about it here. You know, you and me kicking back, looking into each other's eyes. Floor on your engine like all the other apps live on the street. It's so romantic. Keep going, buddy. I could talk at this tone all day. No, for real, I just feel like we haven't heard much about the iPhone 13. It goes through these weird cycles where it's being finalized, and the design was finalized a few months back, and now we're into summer, which means that the production is going to be starting, which means even more leaks, as like people more than ever are going to be building and working on this device, which means you and me get to hear about it. And for a lot of you, you might be like, okay, I've heard a lot about the iPhone 13, but what will it actually look like? Is it going to have a smaller notch? What about the screen? What about the camera setup? I mean, we've looked at a lot of prototypes and a lot of near final designs, but we've never actually seen the final CAD images, like the engineering documents that Apple sends out for manufacturing. But in a first ever leak of its kind, a first ever leak of the decade, we have gotten the CAD files publicly. Usually these are highly secretive, never shared with anyone, but John Prosser, who's about 80% accurate, was able to get his little fingies on them. He snatched those babies right up and said, here, take a look at it. We get to look at it. You and I in this video are going to get to look at the actual engineering files, which is something we've never been able to do. Now, legally, of course, these were labeled as generic phone and generic phone pro because, you know, these are just recreations of what a phone could look like, technically. This is to Apple's legal team. These are not my files. I never touch these files. I'm just looking at generic phone. You know, it looks kind of like an iPhone, but is it? I don't know. Talk to my lawyers. All right, so first up, this is the 6.1-inch regular iPhone 13. So it should be around $800 if Apple keeps the pricing the same. And I mean, design-wise, it looks very similar to the iPhone 12 with like the squared-off body and the edges, but you can see that the camera bump is a little bit thicker, and of course on the back, like the cameras in general are totally different. So they're so large now, the lenses, that they couldn't stack them on top of each other, so they had to go like that. Flash up there, microphone there, and you can see just the general raised surface here. On the side, pretty much the same button layout as before. On the other side as well, the power button looks like it's been lowered a little bit, but that could also just be like the way this looks. On the bottom, you still have a lightning port. That was one of the biggest rumors, was that Apple was actually going to remove the lightning port this year, but it doesn't seem like that's happening anymore. And of course at the top, I mean, look at this right here, the new notch with a relocated speaker to the bezel and the cuts for the cameras right here. Again, this is the first time we've ever been able to do this, and it's really neat. Now moving on to the iPhone 13 Pro, of course, this is the model that I will probably be picking up because I use the iPhone 12 Pro. I like the Pro design, the stainless steel. The more money I get to spend. And now we're checking out the Pro iPhone this year, and you can see how large the camera is. Compared to the iPhone 12, the 13 Pro's camera is larger than like half of its body. You couldn't even stack two side by side anymore. Again, extremely similar button layout, but a massive camera bump, like huge, absolutely ginormous. It's gonna be weird that I didn't realize it sticks out that much actually until seeing this. Look at the size of the camera bump this year. It just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. Over here, exact same button layout on the iPhone 12 with just this here, and again, the lightning port remains. Again, we thought that this was going to be removed. It was not. And the same notch here with a bit of a better look at the bezel, some more depth here on the Pro CAD. And you've got the speaker with the 4 true depth camera holes. I can't get over this. This is look at that boy. It's a thick boy. I have never been able to do this with an iPhone model in my life, okay? So it was cool for me to experience with you spinning the phone around and just seeing all the time that Apple's engineers and design team and prototypers put into these. Like, I mean, we see it as just like a new phone. And it's like, oh, it looks the same, but like there's a lot that goes into these designs, you know, beneath the surface. This is just the shell of the phone. This isn't any of the architecture that goes inside. But one part that we know is getting a huge upgrade this year is the battery. And boy, howdy, I'm gonna go to town. I'm so excited. Whoa there, girl. All right, everybody calm down. Now, this is a big one and something I am so excited to report because it's one of those features, the battery, right, that actually improves your quality of life. Like when you forget to charge your phone and it makes it through an extra day, or you send an extra text to somebody, or you get that extra phone call, or you can FaceTime for like 10 seconds longer because does FaceTime drain anybody else's battery? It always destroys my battery. This year, I think we are getting the biggest battery upgrades we have ever gotten milliamp hour wise. That's MAH, I'm saucing at you right now, for the batteries. And we have the details. Love to Dream has shared some allegedly credible battery info. And it is, okay, we just got to jump into the numbers because I can tell you it's good, but let's actualize good. Let's start off small here at the iPhone 13 mini. Obviously, this is a really small phone in general, so it's only getting a 7.4% increase, but it's gonna be 2406 milliamp hours now. Not a huge battery by any means, again, because the constraints are here physically, but even a 7.5% increase on here is pretty good, and it's definitely going to be noticeable. For the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro 6.1-inch models, we're going up 9% to 3,095 milliamp hours. So we have finally broken the 3,000 milliamp hour mark on the phones that most people will buy, which is, you know, something Android phones have been doing for a while. Now, I'm not salty that we just broke it on the iPhone, even though the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is just a behemoth already, it has the largest amount of physical space, that's getting a 15.3% battery increase to 4,352 milliamp hours. 4,300 100 milliamp hours of battery. This is a mammoth phone already, and the battery's just gonna make you, it's gonna make you feel small, all right? It's gonna have a mark on the ruler, if you know what I'm saying, at about 6 inches. You're gonna be down here at about 2 inches. It's just bigger than you, and size does matter. For the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 13, this is gonna be a big deal because you're getting the exact same screen as last year and just better battery. So essentially nothing will be more power intensive year over year. For the Pro models, we're getting a ProMotion display. Now listen, I'm super excited about this. It's gonna be 120 hertz. Effectively, it's making the screen twice as smooth looking on the Pro models. Obviously, you'll be able to disable it if you want. So it's cool to see a 9 and 15% increase respectively, but that's probably just going to equate to, as Apple will call it, about the same battery life as last year for the Pro models. But I think the regular iPhone 13s for battery may actually outclass the Pros, which will be, you know, kind of mind-boggling. But the way we're looking at it right now, we haven't heard of anything that will be too power intensive on those. ProMotion is just coming on the Pro models. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more. I have been Sam. I hope you're doing well. I have got to go. I am running so late. My friends are going to be so mad at me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.